Mom Guru. I'm Jax, and today we're going to take a look at the last question in our New Year, New Way series. I'm so impressed that we made it through this series, that there's 40 questions and 40 videos, and I'm very excited for how this is going to impact people's lives. It sure impacted mine. And so today we're going to talk about the last question, which is, do you change your mind often? It was very interesting because I like to always get feedback from my hubby, because sometimes you don't understand necessarily yourself, and you can help yourself by asking a trusted advisor of how they view you. Now, there's always incidences where they may view you through their own perspective, and we'll get through that in another post, but I always enjoy having feedback. Well, this one time when I asked him if I changed my mind, he had a resounding yes. And I thought, okay, I don't really know if I change my mind all that often. And then I asked him to explain, and it was really interesting because my hubby is a very fluent speaker and is very eloquent the way he can talk, and he's not for a loss of words. And he was stumped because he was trying to find an example of where I change my mind often. Finally, when he thought about how to clarify it, he realized the way he clarified is that I can change my mind in the spur of a moment about something. So it's not necessarily that I change my opinion or that I change my mind. It's just that whatever the moment takes at that moment, I can actually just change whatever I need to change at that moment. A friend of mine was talking to me about that, about how much of an ability that is, and what a positive ability, because I can be very fluid. Something comes up and I can have a certain mindset towards it, and I'm given new information and I'll change my mindset and I'll be in the present moment. Well, 10 minutes ago I had this information and that was my opinion. Now it's 11 minutes later and now I've been given new information and I have a new opinion. And it can be difficult for people because they think that I might be wishy-washy, or that I just change my mind, and that's not the case. But it was really interesting because I've also been given the label of being stubborn. And this was very difficult for me because I don't think that I'm stubborn. The definition of stubborn, and I will grab it here for you really quick, is having or showing dogged determination not to change one's attitudes or position on something, which it's a good thing if you are very steadfast in what you believe. The one part of the sentence that really gets me is the especially in spite of good arguments or reasons to do so. Now, what do you classify as a good argument? That's where I have an agree to disagree situation with my hubby, because he continuously tells me that I'm stubborn, and I continuously tell him that I'm not, because if there is a good argument or reason to change my mind, I will change my mind. It's just whether or not his good reason and my good reason are the same. And I'm going to share a small little story with you. It's one of our those characteristic stories that couples share, and where we learned about each other and about our boundaries. When I lived back in Calgary, one of my part-time jobs was scorekeeping men's ice or ball hockey, and I had done that what, 7 or 8 years straight, and it was 11 to 15 games a week that I would do, and that's a week. So I'd have a lot of hockey. And I know the Canadians are known for their love of hockey, but I don't think people really realize how much they do. There was close to 55 arenas in the city, Calgary area, that were running from 7 o'clock in the morning till midnight, Monday to Friday. There were some nights that I had to be at a game starting at 10:30 or even starting at 11:30 at night, and all 24 people would show up, including the refs. And that was rain, shine, snow, sleet, blizzard. It didn't matter. The game goes on, if you want to put it that way. And it bothered my hubby because there were times when the weather would be the advisory would go out that unless you have to drive, you don't go out. And I knew that I had to be there because the game is very difficult to run without someone who's running the clock and the scorekeeper and keeping the score and the stats for the league, and also the refs. So it was very, very rare that any ref or scorekeeper would miss their job due to weather. Weather was never never an issue. It was always either sick or family situations or something like that, but it was never due to weather. Now, my hubby is a very caring guy, and he was worried about me driving in the winter, the hazardous winter conditions. And so he wanted me to get these plastic triangles. And I don't know if you've ever seen them on the highway. They're those orange triangles that have those reflector things on it, and semi trucks use them a lot to warn people that someone's on the side of the road. Well, he really insisted that I get these triangles. Now, I don't know about you or what area of the world that you live in, but if you have the severe winter conditions that we had back in Calgary, there were times if you were caught with exposure for an extended period of time, you could die. That's just, it was that cold there. And I understood that his heart was in the right place and that he was just wanting to keep me safe, and so that I would be able to come and live with him in the future in the United States, as was part of our plan. And I thought it was rather odd because I didn't know anyone in my social circle or in my world that carried triangles. I even asked the gentleman who was part of the health and safety division for the entire transit system in Calgary if he carried triangles, and he just looked at me and goes, no, but I carry a blanket and I carry water and I carry candles and maybe an extra coat, and I had all those in my car, but I never had triangles. So it wasn't that I was being negligent in regards to preparing for winter. And I always dressed appropriately too, because I knew that if I got stranded in those conditions, that I had to be able to stay frostbitten free as much as possible between my accident and getting to somewhere close by. But my hubby wanted nothing to do with that. He really thought that it was necessary for me to get these triangles. And he was very insistent. And I told him, and he thought that the philosophy was that you need to prepare for any kind of calamity that's coming. And that was more of a get ready for it because it's coming kind of idea. And my philosophy is the exact opposite of that. I'd rather expect that nothing's going to happen unless I get a intuitive wiggle that I need to take heed and prepare. So I have the exact opposite approach. He prepares ahead of time to ward off future problems, where I don't expect future problems and really get impressed with a foreboding feeling at the time when I need to prepare. So I only prepare when I absolutely have to, and I never had that feeling to do that with the triangles. So he specifically told me that that I had to get them. So I didn't want to fight about this, and I didn't see this as a big issue. So I told him, I said, I will get the triangles, but I have you understand that I don't believe in the philosophy of the triangles. I don't think they're going to keep me safe in any way, shape, or form. But I do know that this is a very special thing for you, that you need them in my car. And he got quite upset with me. And he said, I don't want you patronizing me and just putting them in there for me. I said, well, that's the only reason I'm putting them in the car is for you, because I've been doing this for 7 winters now with no incident, and anytime there was an issue, I would pack anything extra that I would need in the car. But plastic triangles did not ever make that list. It, like, the thought didn't even cross my mind. And when I did a poll of a bunch of different people that I knew, of all different walks of life and all different levels of fear and wanting to protect yourself and all different mindsets, not one of them has triangles in their car. The only person I knew that had triangles was a semi-truck driver that I knew, and they put them there to warn people that for the reason that it's there. And we still agree to disagree on to this day. And it was very interesting because I wondered, and for you, like, when you look at the situation, am I being stubborn? Or am I just being steadfast in my opinion because I don't believe in the same thing that he does? And I don't ask him to believe what I believe. Like, if he wants to put the triangles in his car, like, go ahead, put triangles in your car. I would never stop you from doing that. You need to do whatever you need to do for you. But I'm telling you that I don't, like, for me, that goes way outside of my mindset of having to protect yourself. Like that, I always feel in a position that I am protected. It's a totally different mindset. So it was very interesting for me in regards to this whole stubborn thing. And he still tells me stubborn. And I go, no, I'm not stubborn, because my mind changes very quickly. If there's some, like I said earlier in this recording, that if something comes up that I see that in regards to how I'm supposed to look at myself or look at the world or understand different concepts about how we as people think and do, then immediately if something new comes in, then okay, we implement that and on we go. And now we're a different person. So my mind is quite fluid. I just don't accept people's opinions and any fear-based decisions because that the person there is either my husband or my mom or anybody like that. It doesn't matter who you are. Those, if they don't fit, they don't fit, and I'm not going to adopt them. So I guess in a way he could, I guess in a way that could look stubborn to him, but I know that for me that I don't feel that I'm stubborn. What do you think? Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm glad that we were able to spend this time together with this series. We have a new series that's starting called Back to Basics. It's awesome because it's almost like the glossary or index of a lot of the stuff we talked about here on the Any Questions series. If you want to check it out, you just go to our @Steemit, or for in Steemit, go @Common Guru, or you can check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.